I've been thinking lately, which I know it's a very dangerous pastime. And yeah, last night I probably had too much to think, but I got some questions for you. Some things I was thinking about myself that let's talk about. So I was kind of wondering last night. I mean, what's my favorite rig? But I want to know what's your favorite rig. And I'm just going to look through my collection real quick. And it's hard for me to select which one is actually my favorite rig. As far as something to just get and drive, the VRD. Just off the shelf, if you will, a kit that is fantastic and wonderful. The VRD, even the ready to run, absolutely great rig. Love the VRD. However, as far as nostalgia, as far as what is fun and cool to me, and maybe not the best performer, it's going to be the Bastard Junior, honestly. And this one's still not quite done. This is my four-wheel steering version with the custom skid plate, and I got the OD3 transmission in here from Deluxe. Very fun rig, but the last build was the TGH 210 transmission tucked forward with that SS Team Spec motor. There's a lot of crammed in here. Roll center on this one isn't perfect. Capper axle is a little wider than what I wanted. However, super fun rig to drive, and I like the way that it looks. I could do a little bit more to make it look scale, you know, hide some stuff, basically. But with that 210 tranny, it's a little difficult, so it needs some rework to make it exactly how I want it now. And in the meantime, I'm just working on the other one. Now, favorite rig, let's go in the opposite direction. Least favorite rig. What's your least favorite rig? Maybe it's one that you bought, which we'll talk about here in a second. Maybe you've already sold it. Let me know what your least favorite rig is. And out of what I have here, if I'm going to only pick out of 10 scale, I want to just keep it 10 scale because otherwise I'm going to say a small scale is my least favorite, but it's only because it's small scale. It's not actually because the rig itself is my least favorite. Out of all the rigs that I've had, I don't know, the Rebelcon, it looks great. I think it was a Yikong rebrand. But for some reason, it just didn't hit right with me. And I don't know why. I think what Rebel RC was trying to do was great, but they had some problems with licensing issues. They got shut down, unfortunately. But my concerns of getting parts, I mean, honestly, it's a really great rig. It's got machined aluminum rails on there. It's got the diffs that lock and unlock, which I'm honestly not that big of a fan of. The TRX4 is great and all, but I honestly prefer the Sport because it doesn't have stuff like that. So, I don't know. I hesitate to say that it was my least favorite because honestly, the performance wasn't bad for being the scale rig that it was, but that's a tough one for me because they're all different in their own ways, and yeah, I'm not gonna pin a least favorite on anything right now. But that one was kind of I don't know, it was just a little oddball to me. It just, for whatever reason, didn't hit right. Maybe you actually love yours, and maybe I just need to go drive it more. I need to find my radio for it, honestly. So, least favorite rig. Now, least favorite rig, is there a rig that you really regretted buying? And looking through, nothing. I've got nothing that I regret actually buying. Not a single rig. They're all loved and cherished in their own ways. Now, do I take out the TF3 often? No. I'm not into that sort of scale rig, unfortunately. It looks good. It's fun to drive in the looks good sort of fashion, but that's about as far as it goes. But maybe there is a dream rig that you would like to buy instead. And I don't really have a dream rig because I'm already working on my dream rig right now. And unfortunately, the frame is not one that you can just buy, but maybe a dream rig is one that you could make. Or maybe one that you would try to have somebody else make for you. If you're not a tube builder, then maybe there's a tube builder that can do a custom for you. And in that case, let me know what it would be. Maybe it's a scaled down version of some full size. Maybe it's something that used to be available and you want a repop of it. But what is your dream rig? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Too much thinking last night, let me tell you. Getting off of rigs for a second, I wonder about tools. Now, lately, my favorite tool brand has actually been Vanquish. I can get parts for it. It's known quality. We have customer support here in the US. I know a lot of people like Hootie. And there are, of course, plenty of other brands. MIP always comes up when we talk about tools. And I honestly, well, we've got one set of MIP drivers here, but I never actually bought them because originally when I got back into RC, I bought my Losi drivers, and my Losi drivers are all still going strong. So you get one set and you really don't need multiple sets. Now, I have multiple sets of Vanquish at this point. I have a set here. We've got a set over in our rebuilding station. I have a set that I keep in my house. So I've got multiple sets, but it's because I do have multiple work areas in my life. And once you kind of get a standard going, it's a little nice to keep up with that. And buying sets of, I don't even know if Losi is offering these drivers anymore. And if they are they the same quality as they were 20 plus years ago when I bought these? Would have been, let's see, 23 years ago. They're still going strong though. So out of all of my tools, honestly, for the size, these Losis are great, but they don't always reach places. And that's when I like the Vanquish tools. They've got a lot longer reach, as you can see from the handle there. So there's a lot of times when I may need to get in and get at something, and those just don't cut it. And they never did. It's more of a normal working on stuff wrench. So I do really like my Vanquish type stuff these days. So there you go for me. Now, as far as going out crawling, do you like to crawl by yourself or in groups? I am a little bit of both. I love going out in groups. The social aspect of it, getting to hang out with people and shoot the shit, so to speak. I really enjoy that. And getting to see all the different builds. We've got a really good scale population here. And the people who are building these scale rigs have been building since the really early days for the most part, to where you couldn't just buy a crawler. You know, we got into crawling in the area about 2002. And by 2005, we had a really solid group. 2006, a really, really big group. In 2007, we saw the first rigs that you could buy, the AX10 from Axial. So there was a lot of years of builders where we were using the TLT axles. And then when the AX10 came out, of course, the scene exploded pretty big. So the guys that are still in it, that have been in it since that 2005 to 2007 range, they're used to a really high amount of effort to build a rig. And the amount of things that they make themselves is really high. And I love seeing rigs like that, a very high amount of custom built stuff. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So I enjoy going crawling in the group greatly, just because I get to see all of that. I get to talk with people and sometimes, show off some things that I'm working on. So that's always a good time to me. However, when I'm testing products, a lot of times I like to be by myself because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to go out on a trail. I don't want to spend all the time to get together with a group and then suddenly just, have a 10-minute ride or whatever and not be able to have a lot of fun. Drive for 30 minutes and then suddenly everything takes a dump on me. And I knew that it probably was because I was testing. So I kind of separate what I do and when I crawl with people. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to grab something that I know is going to run, maybe even a TRX4 Sport or something like that. If I'm going to be with a group, or the VRD, that sucker's super solid. So I don't want to be testing new stuff when I go out unless I know it's going to be solid. So I kind of separate when I crawl, what I crawl with, depending on where I'm crawling and who I'm crawling with. Next up for me, speed of motor. So this is also tied with voltage, so it's a double-ended question. We have, what is your favorite speed of motor, and also what is your favorite voltage? And for me, generally, I enjoy having 3S because I can run it in pretty much everything and I don't have to worry about it. Whereas 4S is more specific to each individual rig. There's some rigs that I would like to run 4S in. Majority of it though, if I'm running, let's say even 1800 kV revolver or 2300 kV in-runner like the Crawlmaster, that's the kV that I really like. And I can run those on 3S, have plenty of wheel speed. Both of those can run on 4S and have even more wheel speed, another 25% or whatever it would be, 33%, depending on which way you're making the calculation. So for myself, I have a lot more 3S than 4S batteries. Here's a 4S. The 4S actually has a higher center of gravity. So if you're placing it into a rig, because of the form factor, I find that 3S generally is going to give me better performance unless you're running super, super tiny little pack. And in that case, you increase your voltage, decrease your kV or your gearing, and you can run a smaller pack at a higher voltage and get better performance just because the voltage makes up for your lack of amp hours in the battery. It makes up for your lack of being able to pull amps out of a battery. So I do understand why people generally choose 4S, especially for competition these days. However, I tend to choose 3S. It's easier to place them. You have a lower center of gravity with a 3S battery because it is actually skinnier, and the way that you place it, you can place it in a lower position. So I tend to go with 3S, but back to the motor speed. 2300 kV for an end runner, and honestly, I love 1800 kV for outrunners. And we do have the faster offerings, but I tend to fall right back to those every single time. So that's also what I see in sales is the most popular. So you'll probably have something similar, but let me know in the comments, what are your favorite kVs and what are your favorite voltages? And we can all learn from each other. Maybe you like the outrunners more than the end runners. Maybe you like the end runners more than the outrunners. So there we go. Just wanted to talk about some of my favorite things these days besides whiskers on kittens. But if you could leave your comments down below, would love to hear what your favorite things are. Maybe you don't like whiskers on kittens. And if so, then list what your favorite things are otherwise. As always, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.